What is up, everybody? We're working with the best mechanic in Jackson, Jason Moore, and we are breaking down how to fix the four-wheel drive in a Polaris 700.
Hey guys, this is Jason with Howe Equipment. Today we're going to be showing you how to fix the four-wheel drive on an 04 Polaris Sportsman 700. What's up guys? Today we got a 2004 Polaris Sportsman 700. This came in having some four-wheel drive issues. It was like engaging four-wheel drive, and then one front tire would spin and then it'd go back to two. It was just doing all kinds of goofy stuff. We got it up on jack stands to test it and see what was going on. And it sounded like there was some noise coming from the front differential, so we went ahead and took that out. The process is pretty easy to get this out. You're just gonna, these spindles here, you loosen them up, these bolts, and these drop right off, and you're just basically gonna unmount everything, your steering controls and your A-arms and everything. There's 4 bolts that come in from the bottom to mount that differential in there. And then in your drive shaft, there's a little pin that goes through it. You just get a air hammer or a pick and a hammer, anything like that, and drive that out of there. And pull your CV axles out, and that front differential comes right out of there. I actually did have to unmount the radiator fan, which is just 4 bolts. It was super easy. I didn't take it off completely. It's just hanging there to get that out of the way to get it out. But other than that, that's about it. We're going to head over to the workbench and we'll take a look at the differential. Alright guys, so here's our front differential. We just took these 7 bolts out and popped this cover off. And this is what we found inside. So all these pieces were just kind of laying down in the differential. And these are our seals that go on the outside right here. You can see I got the new seals put in there already. And these are the old bearings that go right on the other side of that seal. They go right there. And the new bearings I currently have sitting in the freezer. Reason being is because what you'll do is you'll put those new bearings in the freezer, and then you'll take a torch and you'll heat this outside edge. It expands that metal a little bit. And the bearings in the freezer, since they're getting cold, they'll shrink just a little bit. And then when you go to set them in there, you shouldn't even need a hammer. They'll just drop right in. So here's our new parts. That's what that is supposed to look like. And that's what failed inside the differential. So all these little rollers I'll just set in here. And this will actually go inside of here, just like that. And then this will go inside of there. And then you've got these. This is what drives your CV axles. Your CV axles go right inside there. And those, we'll have one on this side. And then this one will go on that side, just like that. And that goes right inside the differential, just like that. Now you don't need any kind of new gaskets or Permatex or anything like that, because you can see that this differential has a rubber O-ring around it that's totally reusable, so you shouldn't need anything to reseal it at all other than just torquing your bolts down to the right spec. And then obviously your drain plug, and that's your fill plug. So when you put this all back together, you're going to put your drain plug in there. And you can see these are your mounting bolts where it mounts to the frame. And that'll mount in there just like that inside the four-wheeler. And then you take this fill plug out right here, and you're going to fill that with oil until it just starts to seep out of that hole. And that's all you need in it. So we're going to let those bearings get nice and cold in the freezer, and then we'll bring you guys back to get this thing put together. Alright guys, so we just brought our bearing from the freezer. I got this heated up nice. That should slide right in there, just like that. So we got that bearing in there. We'll get this one in. You let those set, and then we'll put all our internals together, get the front diff completely back together the way it's supposed to be, and then we'll install it. Alright guys, so we got our bearings in here. We got some of our other parts in. You can see got the bearing seated in there in both sides. And this right here, this is an electromagnet. This is your cord for that magnet. So when you engage four-wheel drive, what's going on is this plate sits in there like that. And that washer goes in there, and that C-clip holds it all in. And what happens when you hit your four-wheel drive is that electromagnet holds this piece down tight so it doesn't move. Right there. And these teeth right here are hooking into that. And when that magnet holds that down tight, it locks this, just like that. And that's what engages your four-wheel drive. So we're going to set that in there. And this C-clip you should be able to just push in with your fingers. Just like that. And then this piece here, these rollers were a little tricky to get in there. What we found is you just kind of set it. Whoops. You set it to where half the roller is inside that edge there, and then just kind of set it in just like that. Just like that. And then set that in there, and should be able to drop that right down inside here. Just like that. So there's that. We're gonna get this bolted up, and then we'll get the differential all ready to get put back in. We'll get a little bit of oil in there so it's not totally dry, and then we'll come back and bolt it into the four-wheeler, fill it with oil, and see how it works. Alright guys, so we're back here at our machine. We've got the differential assembled. We've got it set up here on the front of it. And what I did is I went ahead and ran our wiring into the wire harness there right underneath the headlight. And we're just going to test to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to before we actually mount it into the four-wheeler. So what we're going to do is we're going to start the machine in two-wheel drive. And when I spin this shaft here, these should not spin. Just like that. While the machine is running in two-wheel drive, it should not spin. And then when I flip it to four-wheel drive and engage it to high or low, then when I turn this should all be locked in and they should all turn with each other. That's just going to prove that everything works the way it's supposed to now. And then as long as everything works like it should, then we're going to go ahead and bolt it back into the frame. So we're going to start it up here. So right now we're in neutral and in two-wheel drive. I'm going to spin this. And just make sure that the shafts in there where the CV axles go do not spin. Looks like they're working properly. So now we're going to flip this to four-wheel drive, put it in high, and then we're going to go ahead and spin this again. And you can see that locked in, and it's turning where the CV axles would mount into inside the differential. So then if we flip it back to two-wheel drive, back to neutral. Sometimes they take just a second, but you can see that it released, then it's not spinning the internals inside the differential. So there, our differential's working properly, our electromagnets are working good. I think we're all set, so we're going to go ahead and bolt it back into the frame. Hey guys, we're back with this Sportsman 700. So we got the differential all in yesterday, got it all bolted up. This morning we tried to drive it a little bit, and we noticed that our four-wheel drive was like kicking in sometimes, and then it was staying in two-wheel drive. Physically driving way better. Before it was pulling right and doing a lot of weird things, and one tire would spin all the time, and it was just all over the place. So I started diagnosing a little bit, and this connector that comes up from your front differential that goes to your electromagnet, you can see inside here, I don't know if you can see that very well, but those connections look like they're like spread out, and it wasn't making a good connection. So we put it up on a jack again, and we just kind of held this connection at an angle to make that connection in there, and then our four-wheel drive was working fine. So a thing to add with this whole thing is just check that, you know, get some dielectric grease in there, make sure that you got a good connection, make sure everything's engaging. That light on your dash should come on saying you're in four-wheel drive. If it's not, definitely check that. Make sure your connections are good. If they're not, I would suggest, you know, you could go in there and hardwire that, and as long as you got the tools and materials to do that. But other than that, we're going to get that fixed up where we want it, and then we'll test it one more time, and we should be all set. Alright guys, so we got this Sportsman 700 all back together. We got the front differential working the way it's supposed to. The electromagnet and everything is working correctly, and we kind of did a tutorial on how to do all those things, what we found and what you can look for, and different symptoms and stuff. So like the video, subscribe if you want to see more. If there's something that you'd like to see fixed, or something that you want a tutorial on how to do, go ahead and comment, message us, get a hold of us. If you're looking for parts for any of your four-wheelers or lawnmowers or anything like that, get a hold of us. Thanks. See you next time.